By the time you're watching this video, 2025 will already be here, and if you're watching this video, then you're probably interested in doing a no-buy or low-buy challenge. I've been doing no-buy challenges every single year since 2019, when I used it as a tool to help me pay off over $120,000 of student loan debt and heal my shopping addiction. I really do credit doing those challenges to help me reset my system, change my behavior, and completely transform my relationship with my money, my shopping, and myself. It really can be such a powerful tool. So in this video, I'm going to share with you all of my best tips to make sure that you are successful in your no-buy challenge. And if you want even more help, I wrote a journal all about this. It's called the Minimalist-ish Journal, your guide to buying less, living better, and finding more joy in what you already have. This journal is really a playbook in everything I did to change my relationship with my shopping and my stuff. And it's got a ton of tips, tricks, and prompts to help you have a successful and really well-balanced, healthy version of your no-buy or low-buy. It's available for pre-order now with a special little freebie to anyone who does pre-order. And if not, it's going to be available everywhere you buy your books on February 18th, 2025. I'm really proud of it and I think it's really going to help you, so I'll leave everything linked down below if you want to check it out. Before you even get started with anything, you're going to want to choose which type of challenge you're going to do. Are you going to do a no-buy challenge or a low-buy challenge? A no-buy is essentially a strict commitment in eliminating any excessive spending from your budget. This could be things like clothes, shoes, makeup, skincare, hair care, accessories, video games, takeout. All of that gets eliminated from your budget, and you really only spend on life necessities. Versus a low buy, which is a little bit more lenient, and it's where you put spending limits and boundaries around certain categories in your budget. Whether or not you decide to do a no buy or a low buy is really dependent on you and your personality. If you tend to find going cold turkey, sort of all or none, is best for you, going in 110% of the way, then I think a no buy challenge is right for you. Versus if you prefer to sort of ease yourself into it, you prefer things like moderation and just being a little bit more balanced, then I think a low buy will be better for you. All right, now that you know which challenge you're gonna do, the next thing you need to figure out is your why. You need to know why you're doing this in the first place. And my most important tip here is to make sure that you're not doing this as a way to punish yourself. This is truly meant to be a positive challenge and not one that's driven from shame or guilt for previous bad spending or bad behavior. And you know what, don't get me wrong, the reason that you may have even thought to do this challenge is because you felt guilty or out of control of your spending and your consumption and you want to make a real change. And I think that's great. I think that's the case for most of us. That was even the case for me when I started, but it's not what's going to keep you going at the end of the day. And it's definitely not going to help you when things start to get tough. So you have to think of a bigger why. What's the big transformation that you want at the end of this challenge? Maybe you have debt to pay off. Maybe you feel out of control of your shopping and you want to overhaul your consumption habits. Maybe you feel like you own too much stuff and you buy too much stuff, so you want to get more use out of that. Or maybe you want to do this for sustainability reasons and to become a more conscious consumer. Whatever it is, it has to be a good enough reason for you to continue doing this challenge when it's easy and especially when it's hard. And I think it's important to really dig deep into your why too. And sort of dig deeper and ask why to that why. Because yes, saving money is important, but why do I want to save money? Or why do I want to be debt free? Maybe it's so that you can go on vacation once a year and travel the world. Maybe you want to save enough money so you can go part-time or even quit your job so you can spend more time with your kids or work on a special project or business. Really take some time to journal out and dig deep into the big why behind this challenge. I really don't think it's enough to just say, oh, I want to save money. How much do you want to save? Why do you want to save that? What do you want to do with that money? How has shopping or overspending gotten in the way of meeting that goal before? So this is a really important step when it comes to getting started with your challenge, because it's really going to be your North Star to guide you along the way. Once you know your why, the next thing you're gonna do is set out your rules. Remember that this is your challenge and you can be as ambitious or flexible as you want here, but I think it is important to make sure that this is a little bit challenging for you. It is supposed to be something that's hard. Habit change and a real transformation is worth the effort. I think true confidence and true habit change comes from trusting yourself. And one of the ways you can build trust with yourself is by keeping promises to yourself. And your rules here in this challenge are your promises. So you want to make sure that you can actually keep them, because the more you let yourself down, the more likely you are to feel like you failed. And that's when the risk of going on like a big shopping spree and really feeling all or none in this challenge can come up. So the way I like to do this is to map out your month ahead of time. I actually do this every single month when I budget. I think of my budget and my money plan essentially as my calendar. So think about any events coming up in the month, any birthdays, any annual fees, any sales that you might have been waiting for. Is there something that you need to replace in your home? The more you can plan ahead, the more prepared you're going to feel in your challenge and the easier it's going to be to stick to your rules. To give you an example, I'm going to pop up my own no-buy rules right here up on the screen. I have been doing a no-buy since December 1st, where I'm not allowing myself to buy any new clothes that's new or secondhand, makeup, skincare, hair care, or accessories. But as you can see here, I do have exceptions to these rules. So I am allowed to replace products as long as I don't have a backup. I've been doing this challenge through the holiday season, so gifting is okay. I'm a lifelong nail biter, and the only way that I don't bite or pick is when I have my nails done. So I am allowing myself a monthly manicure, and I needed to get a haircut in the month of December, so I was allowing that because that was planned ahead for. Any spending related to my health or fitness is okay, as long as I don't have anything to serve the same purpose. And I do have an exception where if a very specific pair of boots that I've wanted for the last like 6-7 months now go on sale, then I will allow myself to buy them, because I'm doing my no-buy through the month of December and January is my birthday month. So I am allowing myself a little gift for myself. So these are my own rules for my own challenge. If you disagree or if you want to add more, that's up to you. This is completely your challenge, and you can see how flexible or rigid you can be with it. So now you know your challenge, you know your why, and you know your rules. So now comes the fun part of actually sticking to it. One thing I think a lot of folks do get wrong and caught up in when it comes to these challenges is they get really focused in on the things that they can't buy or can't do, rather than focusing on what they already have and what they can do. Really do your best to focus on the positives here, because if you focus only on the negative, it's going to feel so much more restrictive than it maybe even actually is. And I do think this challenge is an exercise in gratitude and getting use out of what you already have too. So I think it's really important to make sure you shift your focus and shift your mindset throughout this challenge. If you approach your challenge from a place of scarcity and FOMO, the fear of missing out, then it's going to be so much harder than it needs to be. So focus on what you've got and focus on the things that bring you joy other than shopping. And honestly, that might be hard to do at first, because a lot of us are in the habit of just reaching for our phones or going shopping whenever we feel any bit bored, sad, or even happy. Shopping for many of us is a way for us to access cheap dopamine and to relieve any stress or anxiety we might be having. So in addition to saving money and reducing our spending this month, this is also a time to basically reset your dopamine system and find joy in doing things other than shopping. You have to find new ways to spend your time. So maybe in this month is when you take some time to declutter your closet, to go through your makeup or skincare, to go through things that are expired, tidy up, donate things. I think this is just a great time to reconnect with things that bring you joy and satisfaction that's not related to shopping or consumption. And I think it's a time where you can reconnect with hobbies and activities that just feel a lot more creative and nourishing. And in order to be able to do this, you need to make your temptations invisible. Especially in the first few weeks of a low buy, it can almost feel like you're in withdrawal because your body's not used to the new habits that you're building. So it's really important to pay attention to the cues and triggers that make you want to shop, and eliminate them. So I'm talking things like unsubscribing from emails, unfollowing brands and influencers on TikTok and Instagram, stop watching things like hauls, unfollow or mute people who make you feel like you want to shop, and basically curate your environment for success. If you want to change your relationship with your shopping and your stuff, in this time, ignorance is bliss. And you want to make buying things a little bit harder. This is where you can really lean into being lazy, and it's going to be a positive thing to help you. So for example, removing your credit card information so you can't use one-click buy or Apple Pay from your phone. Simply having to get up and go to your wallet to pull out your credit card to make a payment can, for some of us, be enough to stop the transaction in its tracks. Where I think a lot of people do go wrong in a no buy or low buy challenge is that they still sort of keep up with and stay on top of the things that they're interested in, and it happens to be the thing that they overconsume. So if you're doing a makeup no buy, but you're keeping up with all of the latest launches, watching all the makeup influencers and tutorials and makeup reviews, things like that, it can really create an environment that is very, very tempting and very, very triggering for you. By continuing to watch that content, at least within your challenge, especially if you haven't done one before, it can make you really vulnerable to acting on those triggers and those temptations. I'm not saying never look at that content again, but I think this is a time to take a break from it and just spend that time with what you've got. In this time, you really want to design your environment for success. So making building good habits easy and making bad habits invisible. The next thing you're going to want to do is to prepare for any slip-ups. After doing no-buy challenges and dopamine detoxes for almost 7 years now, I think the goal when it comes to these is not perfection, but consistency. I think it's more important to acknowledge a slip up rather than punish ourselves for it and just keep going. It's not a license to just go on a big shopping spree and put yourself into an even bigger hole than you were in before because of one small slip up. In my experience, all or none thinking is really not helpful, and in the end, it just gives you a whole lot of nothing. You're not going to be any further along in your challenge, and in the end, you'll probably feel worse about it. So I think it's better to acknowledge the mistake, reflect on it, take it as a learning opportunity, and get right back on the horse. Next is to find your community. This challenge does not have to be done in a vacuum. You don't have to do it all by yourself. In fact, if you do it alone or don't tell anybody about it, I think it could be even harder. With this challenge, I think it's so important to surround yourself with a community of people doing the same thing as you. This is not only going to feel really motivating, but you can work out your struggles together and create a support system that's going to help you achieve your goals. If you didn't know, I have a free Facebook group called Low Buy Beauties with over 8,000 members in it. And it's full of people sharing their rules, their successes, and their struggles, where everyone is so supportive and willing to help. There's some amazing creators on TikTok doing it right now. I'll leave a few of my favorite accounts linked below. And even right here in the YouTube comments is a great place to find support and inspiration in your challenge. So if you're planning on doing a no buy or a low buy challenge in 2025, those were some of my best tips to help you get started and to keep going. Remember, this challenge is not about restriction or just simply spending less. It's about creating space for what truly matters in your life and changing your habits for the better. So let me know in the comments if you're going to be doing a no buy or low buy in 2025, and let me know the big why behind it. If you want to dig even deeper into this challenge, then don't forget you can check out my journal. It's available for pre-order right now, and I'll leave my no buy playlist right here for even more tips and tricks. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. Good luck with your challenge, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.